Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this month's Patch Tuesday webinar. I hope you guys are having a great day at work, and thank you for taking time off from work for attending today's session. My name is Arvind and I'm a product specialist at ManageEngine, and I'm going to be the presenter for this month's edition of Patch Tuesday. So Patch Tuesday updates for the month December 2018. This is going to be a quick 45-minute session where we will be analyzing various aspects like the security, non-security, and the third-party applications for which updates have been released for this month's Patch Tuesday. This is going to be the agenda, guys. So firstly, we'll be looking into the things that are trending on cybersecurity. Following that, we'll have a complete breakdown on this month's patches. So as you know that patches have been released on Tuesday, and for some third-party applications, it has been released on Wednesday too. So that we'll be analyzing the impacts of these missing patches. And we will also look into various ways with which you can proactively defend your network from cyber threats. As I've told you, we are taking questions too. We have an expert panel who are sitting right beside me. So if you have any questions, please shoot in your questions and your queries will be answered. With that being said, let's kickstart the session, shall we? So first things first, let's see what's hot on cybersecurity. So the first news is regarding Edge browser. So we all would have seen the random pop-ups in our Windows machines on how Edge is actually faster than its competitors. So Microsoft claims that Microsoft Edge is 27% faster than Google Chrome. I know it's a bit hard to believe, but Microsoft is actually putting in everything possible to make Microsoft Edge better than Google Chrome. So as a first step, Microsoft is announcing some significant changes to its Edge browser. They have begun to rebuild Edge to run on Chromium, the same open source web rendering engine that powers Google Chrome. So this means that Edge will soon be powered by Blink and the V8 JavaScript engines. So please don't confuse this V8 JavaScript engines with the V8 engines you usually see in Lamborghinis and Mustangs. So if you ask me, I would say it is a big move. That means Microsoft is joining the open source community in a much bigger way for the internet. So next, we have another news. This is regarding a Chinese ransomware. So over 100,000 Chinese users have had their Windows PCs infected in a new strain of ransomware that encrypts their files and demands a ransom of nearly 110 yuan, which is equivalent to $16 US. The interesting part here is that, unlike other ransomware malwares, the new virus doesn't demand any ransom payments through Bitcoin. Instead, it demands through WeChat Pay. The ransomware is exclusively being targeted at the Chinese internet space, and thankfully, there are no threats to international users yet. But hey, the developer behind this ransomware is arrested. So, according to a report from the Chinese media, with the help of Tencent and Weihu, the authorities were able to track down and arrest a 22-year-old man named Lo Mamo on December 5th. Lo Mamo. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correct. But after his arrest, Mamo allegedly admitted to the creation of this ransomware. He has no other choice, right? So this particular ransomware is named as unnamed 1989 WeChat. So if you're wondering what 1989 is doing there, that guy's 22 years old, and what he has to do with 1989, even I wonder. So next, we have the zero-day vulnerabilities that got patched for December 2018. There are actually two 0 days that got patched this month. One from Adobe Flash Player and another from a Win32k component. So we'll be looking at the former first. So Adobe released several unscheduled patches for Adobe Flash Player that includes fixes for a critical vulnerability that is said to be exploited in the wild. So successful exploitation of this vulnerability can lead to remote code execution. And this was actually discovered and reported by a group of cyber security researchers. And it's good that Adobe responded to this report before it created any bigger issues. So if you're looking forward to patch, which you must, the CVE ID is CVE 2018-15982. If you think that the CVE ID is a bit longer to memorize, please don't worry. Our expert panel is here. Please ask them, and they'll be able to, send you guys the CVE IDs. So next up, I have some announcements to make. So if you have been following our previous Patch Tuesday webinars, you might have come to know that we usually notify our listeners regarding the end of life cycle period of Windows 10. So this is no exception, guys. Windows 10 version 1709 is going to be expired by April 9 of 2019. So if you are currently on that version of Windows, that is 1709, we highly recommend you to update it to the latest version of Windows to continue receiving updates from Microsoft. Okay, we have another announcement as well. So a small disclaimer, I'm gonna tell this bit with some marketing bits, and it starts now. Animal Planet has shown us how chameleons catch bugs in the wild. We are going to switch things up and tell you how one very special chameleon handles bugs. No, seriously guys, we have extended our support for SUSE Linux and Desktop Central, and for patch management, we'll be extending the support in a day or two. So to know more about SUSE Linux and that we are supporting it, click the link. So a link would have been sent by our expert panel right now. So check your chat window and there'll be a link. So once you read that, share your thoughts and leave a like. So this is all about the cyber security, guys. So now we'll be looking into the patches that got released for this month's Patch Tuesday. So we can see that the total number is 322. So 322 patches have been released for, for the month of December by Desktop Central to address various issues and vulnerabilities. So I have a split up of patches here. So we can see that there are nearly 41 vulnerabilities addressed, of which 10 are rated critical. Next, I have a split up of patches based on the impact they create. Topping the list here, as usual, is remote code execution, and it is followed by information disclosure, elevation of privilege, and denial of service. Next, I have a distribution of patches. So based on the severity, so the majority of the patches that got released for this month's Patch Tuesday is contributing to the category of important. And critical, that's nearly 25%. Next slide, we have the applications affected. So we can see that there are nearly 18 patches released for Windows alone to counter various bugs and vulnerabilities found in Microsoft Windows. So it is followed by Office with 9 patches and Microsoft Edge with 5. Next, we will be looking into each and every one of this application in detail. So as I told you, there is Office, Windows, Edge, Internet Explorer, Visual Studio, .NET Framework, Exchange Server, and Adobe Flash Player. So next up, I have Microsoft Office. So the patches that got released to address issues in Microsoft Office is regarded as important, and they fall under and they can cause impacts like cross-site scripting, remote code execution, elevation of privilege, and information disclosure. So these can be found in this components case. So the main reason is that Microsoft Excel not handling objects in memory properly, and even Microsoft Outlook. These are all the reasons that can be found in the components here. Next up, I have the list of CVE IDs. So if you are looking forward to patch Microsoft Office, here are all the CVE IDs. Please make a note of it, or ask our expert panel. They will be able to provide you with all those CVE IDs. Then I have an exploit assessment for Microsoft Office. So an attacker who successfully exploits this vulnerability could perform cross-site scripting attacks, run arbitrary code in the context of the current user, execute malicious codes on vulnerable servers, compromise users' data, disclose sensitive information to malicious sites. So if you see keenly, you can see that the second one, running arbitrary code, is the end result of remote code execution. And the final one, the fifth one, is the result of information disclosure. And it's pretty obvious that the first one is a result of cross-site scripting, XSS. So moving on to the next slide, we have Microsoft Windows here. The patches that got released for Microsoft Windows has been regarded as both critical and important. And the impacts of neglecting these patches might be cross-site scripting, denial of service, remote code execution, elevation of privilege, and information disclosure. So you can find this in this components. And moving on to the next slide, I have the list of CVE IDs for Microsoft Windows. Please make a note of it. Moving to the next slide, I have the exploit assessment for Microsoft Windows. So an attacker who successfully exploits a vulnerability in Microsoft Windows could perform cross-site scripting attack, which is the end result of XSS, and he could also deny dependent security feature functionality and run arbitrary code, which is again the end result of remote code execution. And running arbitrary code in kernel mode, retrieving memory address of a kernel object. So third one, I have Microsoft Edge here. So it has been regarded as a critical update, and the impact is remote code execution. So please take a guess, what would the exploit assessment will be? Yeah, you are probably right. The exploit assessment is running arbitrary code in the context of the current user. Next up, I have Microsoft Internet Explorer. It has been recorded as critical, moderate, and low. The impact for Internet Explorer is similar to that of Edge, and that is remote code execution. So here are all the components and the CVE IDs. As I've told you, arbitrary code execution is the end result of remote code execution, guys. Next, I have Microsoft Visual Studio, where the patches have been regarded as important, and the impact of neglecting it would cause elevation of privilege. Components and CVE IDs are listed down here. Actually, there's only one CVE ID. Please make a note of it, CVE 2018-8599. Next, this is the exploit assessment, gaining elevated privileges. So an attacker who exploits this particular vulnerability in Microsoft Visual Studio could gain elevated privileges in a system, in a client computer. Next one is Exchange Server. So here, the severity is regarded as important and the impact as tampering. Here are all the exploit assessment and the CVID. And you are right, the exploit assessment as gaining elevated privileges. This is a third-party player, guys, that is Adobe Flash Player. So as we have already discussed before, there is a zero-day vulnerability that got patched for Adobe, and it has also been regarded as critical. The impact, as we spoken, was remote code execution, and the CV numbers for ADV 180030 and 180031. Please make a note of it. So this is the first time where Adobe Flash Player is releasing more than 80 patches to address vulnerabilities in Adobe Flash Player. So the exploit assessment is arbitrary code execution. Next, I have non-security Office updates. So we can see that updates have been released for Office 13, 16, and Office 10. Yeah. And there are third-party updates now. So there are updates for iCloud, iTunes, Fireshark, Adobe Flash Player, Dropbox, and LibreOffice. Next, I have Mac updates, guys. So updates have been released for Sierra and some third-party applications as well. For example, Skype, OneNote, Word, FileZilla, and some others as well. So this is where all the patches that got released for this month's Patch Tuesday discussion ends. From now on, we'll be looking into how vulnerabilities are increasing year on year. Actually, I have a report now. So this is by Gartner. Gartner is a global research firm which specializes in domains like information technology, sales, marketing, and cybersecurity. So this report shows us the vulnerabilities year after year. So we can see that there is a sudden surge in the number of vulnerabilities in the year 2017. It is nearly more than 100% than what 2016 gave us. And the orange one denotes that for 2018, and we can see that it is nearly 12,440, nearly 12,500. But please be cautious. This number is only for the first half. So experts predict that the number of vulnerabilities will be even more than what 2017 gave us. So all these vulnerabilities, all these reports may show us how patching has become a serious business. So if you are looking for the right patching solution, let me give you a piece of advice. The patching solution that you're about to opt in must A, support multiple operating systems. When I mean multiple operating systems, I mean all major operating systems like Windows, Mac, Linux, not just that, guys, not just that, and some major third-party applications as well. And B, support all your endpoints, not just in your local office, but in your remote offices as well. So overall, the patching solution that you're about to opt in must support patching of endpoints irrespective of their location, operating system, or operating system flavors. But doing all this manually can be a cumbersome task. So it must provide automation too. Complete automation. It must provide complete automation, guys. So ManageEngine offers two products. One is Desktop Central and another one is Patch Manager Plus. Desktop Central is a complete endpoint management solution, whereas Patch Manager Plus specializes in patching. So we also provide complete automation in the form of automated patch deployment, APD. That's what we call. So what I'll do is I'll quickly take you guys into the Patch Manager Plus console and tell you how APD functions. So this is the Patch Manager Plus console, guys. So please note that I'm using Patch Manager Plus console, and if you are on Desktop Central, please don't worry. Patch Manager Plus is only a small module of Desktop Central. So Desktop Central has all the features of Patch Manager Plus and even more. So this is the homepage of the console. We can see that there are several graphs present here, several useful graphs, if you ask me that. So we can see a separate graph for network status, system health, missing patches, and even the computers based on the operating systems. When you come to the right portion of the console, we can see that there is a security newsfeed. So this is where all the latest information will be displayed, and it is mainly aimed at providing our customers with all the latest happenings in the cyber world. So every news and every latest vulnerable, critical news is only a click away. So we were talking about APT, right? So let me just quickly show you guys that. It is located under the deployment tab here. Click on that. You'll be taken to this page, and you can find automated patch deployment right under test and approve. Click on that. So clicking on this option will be taken to a page where all the tasks, all the APD tasks will be listed. All the completed one, which are currently executing, everything will be listed. So here you get an option to automate tasks for Windows, Mac, and Linux separately. I'm opting in for the Windows one. If you click that, here you can see there are 4 stages. The first stage is where actually the first stage is selecting applications. This is where you guys tell us the applications, the type of applications that needed to be patched. As I've selected Windows, I'm given with option called Microsoft Updates and third-party updates. You can select these updates based on the severity. And here you can find a tick box. Enabling this will provide definition update for antivirus as well. Click next, and you will be taken to a second tab called choosing deployment policy. This is where you guys tell us how the deployment must be carried on and when the deployment must be carried on. So you get to select various deployment policies. So I'm selecting the weekend policy here. If you choose to create a policy of your own, you can click on this button here called create/modify policy. So weekend policy states that the deployment will be only on the weekends, and the deployment window will be from this time to this time. Not just that, the deployment can also either at the system startup or refresh cycle, whichever happens first. So down here, you get a small option called suspend task after. So I'm selecting a particular date, say 28th of December, even 25th of December. What it means is that after that particular date, after 25th of December, this task will be suspended. Click next. You'll be taken to a third stage called defining targets. This is where you guys tell us what are all the targets that needs to be patched. So you can either choose a remote office or a domain. I'm selecting my domain, which is Zoho. You can find Zoho here. I'm clicking on that. So once you click on that, you also get an option to filter it down a bit further using this funnel option given here. Click here, and you can filter computers further based on several criteria like remote office, custom group, IP address, IP range, and many other things. I'm selecting IP range. So this means that from X IP range to X IP address to Y IP address, all the computers will be included. You also get an option to exclude particular target from the deployment process. It is similar to the one which you saw above. So say I'm gonna exclude a server for this deployment task. So I know the IP address of the server. I'm selecting on the IP address, and I'm giving that IP address here. So it's that simple, guys. So all the targets will be included. Click on next, and you will be taken to the fourth stage called configuring notifications. This is where, for a change, we will be telling you guys regarding the progress of the APD task. So click on the notifications here and provide your mail address for which you have to receive, you want to receive notifications. And don't forget to click on save, and your APD task, your automated patch deployment task, has been created and will be saved. It is that simple, guys. So as we saw a bit earlier, there are 4 stages. First one is selecting applications. Second one is choosing deployment policy. Third, defining targets. And fourth, configuring notifications. So this is where automation ends. But your patching problem doesn't necessarily stop with automation, right? So there are many real-world scenarios for which we have answers. Say there is one special what-if scenario where you get like this. What if your patches fail? What if the patches that you deploy destabilize the environment, IT environment? So these are all the questions you're not supposed to get. For this, we employ test and approve. So test and approve is a feature from Desktop Central, from ManageEngine. So that allows testing of patches to a particular target and then deploying it to the original environment. We will see that in a bit. So the test and approve feature is available under the deployment tab present here. Click on that, and it is available just above automated patch deployment that we saw now. So click on test and approve, and you will be taken to this page. Here you can see that there are several test groups already created, one for Linux and a couple for Mac. In order to create a new group, click on add group. Once you're done that, you will be asked to select either of these three, one of these 3 platforms, either a Windows, Mac, or Linux. So I'm selecting the Windows one here. And this is where you choose a custom group. So you can either enter a group name or create one of your choice. As I've opted for the Windows one, I'm asked to select applications from Microsoft and third party. This is very much similar to the APD task that we saw before. So you can select the updates based on its severities. After you've done that, click on the deployment settings and select a deployment policy. And here, this is where you guys enable notification for this particular test group. So I've given my email address here. If you click on enable notification, you'll be notified with the regular happenings of this test group. Next, as the last and the important option here, enable this option. So automatically approve tested patches after X days. You can give any value for X. Say I'm providing 5. This means that these tested patches will be automatically approved after 5 days. Don't forget to click on create, and your test group will be created. The next stage is declining patches to a particular group. You know that some versions of Java might destabilize some business applications, right? Some servers. So you can exclude or decline patches to specific environments, specific targets. There's a decline patch option. So I'll show you guys now. It is available under the patches tab here. Down there, you can find the decline patch option. Select that and select this option called select group and decline patch. Once you click on that, you will be taken to a page where you will be asked to select a target. You can create a group or select an existing target, and you can choose to avoid particular family of applications. Say I'm avoiding Adobe completely, so I'm selecting Adobe here. This will be listed down here. All the selected criteria will be shown to you in the site tab present here. Just click save, and these patches, these family of applications will be rejected, will be declined for the group that you're given. This is called decline patch feature, guys. Next one is deployment options, deployment policies, customized deployment policies with granular control. So for this, if you look for in the console, it is located in the deployment tab. In the deployment tab, you can see that there is an option called deployment policies. Click that, and you will be listed with all the existing policies, all the created policies. So you can also create your own policy by clicking on this called create policy. Give a suitable name, and you will be shown with 4 different stages. Deployment schedule, which asks you to fill a particular week, day, and a particular time for the deployment process to happen. The second one is pre-deployment setting. This has 2 options. So you can choose to automatically wake computers before deployment or download patches during subsequent refresh cycle. The third one is user notification. This way, you guys tell us, for instance, you guys will be telling your user clients about the deployment task. So click this option, and you will be able to customize your message. Select a notification timer and click next. The fourth and the final option here, final stage here, is reboot policy. So after a deployment, some application might require you to reboot or shut down, either reboot or shut down. So with this option here, you can choose to abort both reboot and shutdown using this option here. Please don't forget to click on save, and this particular policy will be saved. You can map this to any APT task, and this policy can be deployed. The last and the final option, final feature that we are about to talk is critical vulnerability report. So we have a special option here. It is located under the patch section. You can see a small option called critical vulnerabilities. Click that. What it does is that all the available vulnerability, all the active vulnerabilities that are exploited in the wild now will be listed down here. Just click on that and select install patch, and that particular vulnerability will be taken care of. And this is a critical vulnerability feature, guys, and that is totally it. So we have come to the end of the webinar now. So here are our offerings. So as I told you, we have Desktop Central, which is a complete endpoint management solution, and the Patch Manager. We have Patch Manager Plus as well. So this is what we saw now. And this is exclusively for patching, and it is also available in Cloud too. So Desktop Central is also available in MSP Edition, and then we have another product called Patch Connect Plus. So what it does is, what Patch Connect Plus does is, It acts as an third-party add-on for Microsoft SCCM. So it patches third-party applications by combining its environment with Microsoft SCCM. And it will be very much handy if you have SCCM and you're finding it difficult to patch third-party applications. The final one, yeah, this is the final one, guys. We are taking questions still. So if you have any questions regarding the product that we have discussed now, or Desktop Central, or even the patches that got released for this month, please shoot in your questions, and we'll be able to answer your questions in real time. Yeah, I forgot that thing, guys. So we have automated the deployment of feature packs. So it is just a click away. So yeah, you can also ask us that in the questions tab below. Yeah, we have reached this part. And this is the survey, guys. So you'll be asked to provide your thoughts regarding this presentation once this session gets over. So please feel free to share your thoughts. Your thoughts means a lot to us, and they will help us in growing each and every bit. Please share your thoughts. And if you have any questions, this is my mail address, guys, aravind.pre@zohocorp.com. You can also leave a mail to this mail address, and I will make sure that you will get a response in a day or two. So that's it. Thank you so much for taking part in this webinar.